We need to up our game and shit. We need to do comedy butt naked, right?
Saying his goodbyes. He blew his eye socket off and his eyeball fell out.
White women keep kidnapping us. Y'all seen The Blind Side?
Aren't you glad we have that disclaimer at the beginning of the episode?
It's going to come in handy for this episode.
This week's episode of The Voice Party is brought to you by Big Boy Raps. Get your car wrapped by some of the most experienced and skilled in the Bay. Big Boy Raps, where the big boys play.
Welcome to this week's episode of Two Eagles. Oh, my bad. Fuck,
Two Eagles? What the fuck?
It's an old podcast. My bad. It's football day, man. It's football Sunday. All right.
Can we stop letting him do intros?
Shut up, fool. Fuck you. All right.
Start over again. One.
No, keep it in.
Welcome to this. All right, let's try one more time.
You want me to do it?
I'm nervous. Welcome this week's episode of The Voice Party. I am your host, Corday Snell. With me, I have the amazing JD Arandia.
Ooh, that's the way you say it.
Oh,
Nice.
fuck,
Like
yeah.
it.
Only
Okay.
took 10 years.
Yep.
Next up, we have the bisexual Marcus Milinar.
Who the fuck is Marcus Millionaire?
I don't know, dude. That's what your name, right?
I hate you and have some.
Marcos, my bad. And then next to me, we have Black Joaquin. How you doing, Black Joaquin?
Man, I'm great. Glad to be here at the Georgia Dome.
Hell
About
yeah.
to go get these tag team
You already
championship
know it,
belts,
dude.
brother.
Hey,
with you.
you know, and then on my solo thing, I got my Intercontinental Championship. Hell yeah. Tag team partners for life. Dudley Boys.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Dudley Boys. Hell yeah.
Oh,
man.
testify.
There we go. Hell yeah. And we got Fields on the ones and twos.
What's cracking, everybody?
He only gives himself that.
Yeah. And this week, we have a very special guest. I've known this guy for a very long time. He's an amazing comic. Please get it for Marcus Howard.
Hello. How's it going, everybody?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right, man. You know,
Good.
Thank you
it's
for,
hot as
thank
fuck
you for
out
coming
here.
out, bro.
Yeah.
You're
I
wearing
know
a
you got a sweater too.
I know, dog. I don't ever check the weather before I go
I didn't either.
outside.
Don't
It's
worry.
caused real problems.
Welcome
for
to
me.
the East Bay, but the hot part of the East Bay.
Yeah.
You know what though? Last month when we were recording, it was extremely hot.
was like
we were all sweating. Like,
like
This feels like
It's like
Alaska
11 in
by
here.
comparison.
Well, I mean,
Like-
I'm pretty sure 3 of you sweat like a lot just naturally. You know.
well, you could add 4. I'm skinny, but I
Four.
sweat.
Oh, you're skinny
Yeah.
fat. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like,
yeah. Right.
Well,
yeah,
okay,
they,
so
they
we were
sweat walking from the
Yes.
kitchen over here, but I guess I don't.
I
do that.
run. Fuck you, all right? That's why I'm sweating, okay? Yeah.
No, but yeah. What was I going to say?
Welcome, Marcus. Hey, tell us about you. Where you coming from? Why are you wearing a sweater?
I live in San Francisco, so you know.
It's always cold there.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, I'm a comic based out of San Francisco. Been doing it for like about 5 years now. I teach during my day job
There we go.
and tell stupid dick
Another
jokes.
teacher.
Yeah. I mean, you know, that's like a very common.
Is this a very common thing between comics?
Yeah, there's lots of comics that are substitute teachers that teach, that you know, work at a youth program or something like that.
I always wonder about that. Is it like what came first, the chicken or the egg? Are they comics because the schedule works with it, or because the job itself kind of provides?
I think it's a little bit of both. Like, one, your work schedule, like you're usually done by around like 4:30 or so, 5, and so then you have the full night to do jokes. I mean, it kind of fucks it up because you have to be at the school super early in the morning, but then also like it provides so much variety. Like kids say crazy shit to you all the time, and so it makes for some good jokes.
Yeah.
Do you keep the comedy life away from work?
I've tried to as best as I can, mostly because I know a couple comics who have gotten fired from their teacher jobs because of the fact that, like, you know, they's like, hey, we found your social media. My school is like, there's like some of the staff know, and like some of the higher up staff know, and they're cool with it and everything. I just try not to mention a kid specifically by name, like on stage. And like most of my jokes aren't like that crazy out there, you know, at least the ones that I've posted online.
Your social media is like not where it could.
Yeah, it's not nearly as crazy. I mean, if they saw my like what the stuff I watch online, then I'm losing my job for real.
So you said you've been doing it for 5 years. Are you from the Bay Area? Like, are you from out here? Or?
Yeah, I was born and raised out in Oakland, like the Oakland, Berkeley area most of my life. Lived in Emeryville for a while, out in San Leandro even, and the only time that I've like lived away from the Bay was like for a few years. I lived out in Colorado, and then Ohio, and then went to school up in Chico.
How is living out there compared to the Bay, like in Colorado and stuff? Because I've thought about that. Like at some point, would I want to maybe spend a few years in another state? But I love California a lot.
Here's the cool thing about Colorado. Colorado is like fully eliminated racism by not having other minorities there. So if you want like a real place that has no racism, then that's a great place to go. And I mean, it's cool. It's the Midwest. Like, you know, it fucking snows out there. And like, here's the thing is like being from California, like you don't get to experience the snow. Right. And like, it's very beautiful. It's like all this magic wonderment. You're looking around, building snowmen and shit like that for about 2 weeks, and then once it goes beyond that, you're like, oh, this is the worst thing. I don't understand how you people fucking live like this.
Right. All the shoveling and your driveway and all that.
Yeah, exactly, man. I remember one time we got like snowed in a blizzard, and I like opened my front door, and the front door like literally is just all white. It was just like a white wall of snow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You have to like tunnel your way out.
I asked you earlier if everything's off topic. I asked you, and I wanted to bring this up because this is when you meet someone, and I met you at what was it, Retro Junkie for the first time?
Oh yeah,
person.
Yeah.
And then after that, I saw a video of you online that someone else posted, and that's when I decided I love this guy. Even though I don't see you often, but I remember like thinking that is some comic was like accused of some horrible shit.
Oh
and then you were at the show, and you were like heckling.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh, I love that guy. That's awesome. That's
thanks,
like
bro.
that's like my first impression of you.
Yeah. To give some like backstory and context, there's this guy who like was online harassing a lot of the women comics in the scene. And like in the Bay Area scene, there's like this whole group called Mermaid Pants where like, you know, women will share stories of like creepy guys that are comics and stuff like that. And so this guy was like well known, and like I'd heard some stories a little bit, but like not that many women like talked about it. And then he ended up doing it to like two of my homies that like I knew personally. They showed me the messages. And so then finally I was like, okay, fuck this guy. And then this comic, David Dominguez, he was running an open mic one night where he was like, you know, the theme of the night is sexual harassment. Which is like, terrible. He was already trying to fucking stir some shit up or whatever. And so like, you know, so because like a few other women in the scene had been like harassed by other dudes and shit like that. And so they were like on stage kind of talking about it. And then the dude in question, Pancake, who I don't think is around anymore. He was like going up on stage and finally was just like, yo, dude, like fuck you. Like I heard all these stories about all the shit that you've been doing to all these other women, harassing them. You've done it to two of my homies now. Like I do not fuck with you for real. Like I don't want to see you around anymore. Right. And so yeah, just kind of like popped off on him.
Did it get like almost like was it?
It got a little tense there, mostly because this guy like had like really like heavy kind of incel-y vibes, you know, like you know, like I was like, he's the quiet kid at school, you know, kind of thing.
Logs in a lot of hours on 4chan.
Exactly. Yeah. He's
oh wow, then I didn't know all that.
Yeah, so that's like kind of the context for why that happened and everything. And yeah, you know, because you know these women, they're just trying to do fucking comedy or whatever. And so
wow, that's crazy, man.
So what I'm trying to say is respect these hoes, y'all.
100%. If you hear my voice and I'm not speaking, he has.
Yeah. I'm gonna be paying attention to these drops.
Yeah, we got a few different drops. So what got you into doing comedy, Marcus?
It was a thing like, you know, like a classic like a latchkey kind of kid thing where like, you know, I was raised mostly by a single mom, and so she was like working a lot. I was home alone a lot during the summers, and my mom had all these VHS tapes of like Eddie Murphy's Raw, The Kings of Comedy, some Richard Pryor, that stuff. And so like I used to just watch those on repeat all the time. And so it was a thing that like I'd always wanted to do for a very long time, and I just never like knew how, because you know when you're first like starting out, you're like, I don't know how you get into this. And so like I never did it even, and so then I didn't start doing stand-up until I was like 25 years old. And I was like in this crazy relationship with this chick who was like fucking 15 years older than me, and she was bipolar. It was a whole nightmare scenario. And so then finally ended that relationship, and so I was at this like crossroads of like, oh, I'm finally free out of this like super toxic relationship. Like I can go pursue and do things that I like didn't want to do. I was also like hella depressed, and so I was like, oh, maybe I'll go go check out some stand-up comedy just so I can like laugh. And so I used to go to Comedy Oakland back when it was at Spice Monkey.
Nice, yeah.
And I would go there like probably like 2-3 times a week, like every single week, just like to watch shows and stuff. I would bring like dates there, and like the guys that ran it, Samson and Ira, got to like know me at a certain point. And then eventually I'd asked them, I was like, hey, like if I wanted to try and give this a shot, like where would I go? And so then they pointed me in the direction of the Bacon Facebook group, which is the comedy Facebook group for people that don't know. And then I just started hitting open mics. But here's the crazy thing is, about a year ago, I helped my mom clean out her garage, and there was like some of my old notebooks in there that I found from high school, and I had like written jokes out in there. They're horrible, like you know, it was first year comedy ones, but or like even pre-comedy jokes. And so I remembered that me and my buddy Paul, because we were like class clowns and stuff. We had saw like an ad in the newspaper that there was going to be a comedy competition, and we were like, oh dude, we're gonna go do this comedy competition, we're gonna fucking win this, right? And so then we wrote all these jokes out and all of this, and then we pussied out at the last moment. And also it's crazy to think like I've never done stand-up before. Out the gate I'm gonna go do a comedy competition. Yeah. And so yeah, then ever since then I just hit open mics and stuff like that. I didn't get like super crazy into doing stand up like my first year. You know, I would like maybe go to one open mic a week or whatever. But then I realized like, oh, I really love doing this thing, and so then it's been like at pretty much as often as I can do it since.
What's your schedule looking like right now?
Like comedy wise?
Yeah.
I usually perform about 5 shows a week.
Okay.
Sometimes more, sometimes a little bit less, but on average it's about 5 a week. Sometimes I have crazy weeks where it's like,
because it's funny when I hear
day.
you guys talk about like comedians say, like, yeah, you know, when I first started I was only doing like 1 a week or something like that, but in the perspective of like entertainment and stuff for with the band, if you did a show once a week, you're
like a big deal,
killing
right?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like people are booking you, but you know, the aspect of comedy, you're like, oh, that's just like dipping my feet in. And I see this guy, you know, he's like every 2 days, he's like, hey, you want to come to the show with me? And I'm like, okay, yeah. It's got 3 shows. And then he's like, yeah, I did 6 more yesterday. You know?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, fuck.
But for you, like on that same note, like, because you're also a teacher, have you adjusted to kind of being up all fucking day?
I mean, since I was like 12 years old, or like whenever like I stopped having a bedtime, you know, I just like I would stay up till like crackhead hours, like 4 a.m. just playing with Legos and shit like that. And so I've always been accustomed to like operating on very little sleep. I'm gonna die when I'm 50 years old.
So you're Batman.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, except for I don't beat up disabled people. Yeah,
Starving people.
In the mentally ill. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be like after on these food
Some
stories.
millionaire beating up people who stole like 7-Eleven
Exactly.
pizza.
Yeah.
I'm a lot like Batman, except for I don't have like money or power, or a nice car, even a car at all.
Yeah, this fool, like sometimes I'll be like seeing his story, like we'll do a show or like on the same show, and then I just see this fool up on his like story drawing. He's like, look at tonight's drawings. I'm like, dude, it's fucking 2 a.m.
Yeah.
You're up drawing right now? Or he's like, oh, today's sketch. And then like I'll wake up at like, I used to be like up like 7 or 8, and then it was like, oh, made like 4 hours ago, and it's like this full ass sketch. I'm like, you was up at 4 a.m. drawing?
Yeah, dude, it's a real problem.
How many hours do you have right now? And like last night,
Like
you
how many?
sleep?
Let me see. I went to sleep around 4 a.m. and then I had to. I got like 5 hours last night. That's not bad, I don't think. Right? No, it's bad.
that average though, I sleep at like 3 a.m.
Okay, cool.
3:30.
All right. So
Remember that kid from X-Men? I don't sleep. He's just watching TV.
Oh, X2, right?
Just walking around the house, yeah.
You know what though? There's something about when I don't get a lot of sleep. Even though I'm all fucked up, I feel anxious. I'm sharper.
Yeah.
Is that kind of?
Yeah, sure. I think what's the thing from the other Batman movie where his dude's like, you looked into the dark. I was born. Yeah. Lack of sleep makes me stronger and more of a danger on the road.
The problem with that though is like you're super sharp for like an hour.
Yep. Yep.
And then
Eyes
after
are hella
that,
red.
Because the
But you're like-
adrenaline's trying to keep you up.
yeah,
That's why
you're
so
like
sharp.
fighting and you're like, I got this, I can do the whole day, and then
you're like,
an hour in or 2 hours in, you're just like, now I can't function.
Oh my god, dude!
You know
One
what I
time
mean?
I took an edible, and I don't smoke weed or anything like that, and so I took an edible, and the night before, and then I was up like all night, so got no sleep. It was a super strong edible. Woke up the next day, was still high and like on little sleep, and then had to go and like teach, and I was like, oh, this is garbage, dude. I'm gonna die here.
Yeah.
That shit is the
I used to work for a catering company, and we had it was the Super Bowl events when it was out here in SF. It was a Visa event, and I remember we had to be there at 4 a.m. You know, I'm kind of a night owl too, so I got no sleep, and I had to get these sparkling waters, right? And I'm like trying to carry like 4 or 5 of them in my arm. And at one point, there's just a hole right here, and I just threw it in there, thinking I was gonna catch it, and it just fell. And you know, I'm staring at it. I'm just like, fuck me. You know what I mean? Like, I gotta do 7, 8 more hours of this. My boss is like, "You gonna pick that up?" I was like, "Let me."
This is a great story, man.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I was like,
Let me just get my mind together.
And he left out the part where he took a bump.
I wasn't doing cocaine at that point.
no, like, I thought when you
too much cocaine.
When you was telling that story, I thought it was just gonna be like you threw it, and it was like a hole. I expected like just a trail of like sparkling waters behind you or some shit. I'm like, that's a good story.
No, but there is something about, like you said, he said you draw. Like, I used to stay up late too, even though I had to be up at 6 the next day, just painting. And I don't know what it is. Something about late night. That's when I can clean my room better.
Oh yeah.
That's when I can organize like all my shit better.
I'm basically a vampire.
Yeah.
Like I do all of my best work at night. Like I don't do shit in the morning.
No.
Like on
a day
a
off,
weekend.
on a day off especially.
No, nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like it'll be like 2 a.m. and I'm like, oh, I should do some laundry right now.
Yeah.
Late night
while
laundry.
I'm at it.
Is there something about like 2 a.m. though for us? Do you think that like
I don't know, dude.
it just feels like now you have time?
Yeah,
Because it's too late. Like it's too late to like be super productive with like business and work. But now you're like, oh, now you know everyone's asleep. I've already seen everything on social media. I've already seen all this.
I heard this on a graffiti documentary where there's something about being up when everyone else is asleep. I think that's part of it for me.
Yeah, dog. That's that grind set, homie. You working when everybody's sleeping, dog.
No days off, no nights off either.
A big family, and the nighttime is when I was active at night because I couldn't do shit all day.
Yeah.
No more
Too
chaos.
active.
No more chaos.
That's
Yeah.
what it is. I think
Yeah.
that's what it is. It's like there's no chaos in the house anymore. You know, like,
Social media is dead.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
as
dead,
everything
yeah.
is quieting
That's what I'm saying.
down,
You've
your
seen
mind
everything.
like becomes chaos.
No
I don't
one's
know
calling
about
you, no one's
social
texting.
media being dead. There's always
It's always
No,
chaos.
but like your friends are not
shit.
posting
No new
nothing.
shit.
Yeah, there's no new shit.
No
You've
one
already seen all the
replies.
posts.
Yeah.
Because everyone's asleep.
Yeah, it's very still. at
Unless you're
night.
following somebody from like across the country,
that too,
New
yeah.
York or something,
yeah.
then you know.
Well, that's when you wake up at 6 a.m. and they're like, "I posted this 3 hours
Yeah.
ago."
And I'm like,
Yeah. Or at 10:30 at night.
Now I
And
know-
You could have just
now I-
waited till the morning.
And now I know who could
that's
reply to
shady.
my messages at fucking 2 a.m.
oh, dog, I could add you to some crazy group chats.
Is that when you also kind of like think of jokes?
Yeah. I mean, most of my writing I do like late at night too.
Nice.
Like my car got stolen a little while ago, and so like I take the bus a lot now, and I do writing on the bus when there's not like Chinese dudes doing pai gao or whatever in the back. Have you guys have you taken the bus? Like seriously, like
Yeah.
because I just noticed is
Not in
old
Frisco,
Asian people have a strong monopoly on the bus, at least in San Francisco.
Okay.
Like it's all owned by like old Asian people that are all on the bus like
Okay.
constantly. Also, stop Asian hate. I know that this is starting to go into a weird. But it's mostly like old Asian ladies, and like they're like smoking in the back and like all kinds of shit. It's crazy. And then like black teenagers who are harassing them, and so
Yeah, I don't catch the bus like in San Francisco, but I remember like in like the Bay Area, like in like Richmond and like Berkeley and stuff like that. I used to always catch, and it would always like be shocking because it'd be like young teenagers going to the back and stuff like that. Then I remember like saw a dude like writing some shit on like the fucking glass. I was like, what the fuck are you doing and shit? But then like older people always kind of like do something. It's always interesting that like people watch while I'm.
Occasionally, you'll have like the mentally ill person. That's
dude,
and it's obvious because they've got like the little hospital bracelet. It's like, why did they let you go? Clearly, you're not cured.
Why did you let them on, sir? Like I remember, he stopped. I remember it was like a weird person, like you know. I'm like, you're not gonna. I was like, now this motherfucker.
They have the money.
Yeah.
I have like a resting, like I don't know what it is, friendly guy face.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Or something. And so like I have this horrible issue where like random people will just stop and start talking to me, telling me their life
Reading
story.
Rainbow guy. What was that?
Yeah. I'm like, was it LeVar Burton?
Yeah.
And so like, people come up to me all the time and like just start talking to me. I'll have headphones fully in.
Yeah.
I'm trying to put out all the vibes. Like, do not talk to me. And they'll sit down talking to me. Like not last night, Friday night, I was taking the bus home, and then this like fucking homeless dude or homeless-esque, I don't know, maybe he was just like rich and white and trying to like, you know, live an experience, but he started talking to me. He was like, yeah man, like, you know, I traveled out here from Kentucky, and he's like, you know, I just like do DMT, and like I try to give away psychotropics if I can, blah blah, blah. He's talking to me all this stuff, and then I'm like, all right, well, I mean, I'm stuck on this bus with this fucking guy, so I guess I'll try to make conversation.
You're like, I guess I'll try some of your DMT.
Yeah, make this bus ride real weird.
I mean, you do look mad approachable, and I bet you the people that walk up and talk to you, despite the headphones, are thinking that in your headphones you're listening to "Butterfly in the Sky." I can go to like that's your theme song right there. I can talk to that man.
Take a look.
It's in a book, reading Rainbow.
That's the clip.
That's the clip.
Oh shit.
But no, here's the thing is though, like, I'm trying to make conversation with this guy, and then finally, like, I get to myself and I'm like, hey man, I gotta go, and then he's like, hey man, can I give you a hug?
Oh no.
And I was like, nah, I'm good, bro. I don't know. You look sweaty. I don't know. Is that how you catch homeless? I don't know how it works, bro. I don't want you to touch me.
You hug him and then you get an eviction notice.
Yeah,
That's how it
exactly.
I'm craving crack all of a sudden.
Yeah, I just find like a big stack of cardboard boxes. I always wonder, like the homeless people who make the signs. Like, I understand where they get the cardboard from, but where do they get the markers from?
Oh, yeah.
I used to work at a plumbing supply store in Berkeley. Homeless dudes used to always come in, like, you know, stretching.
Take a marker.
He's like limbering up and shit.
With cardboard, and he's like, let me borrow your marker. And like, he'll write some shit, and then, you know, he told me he made $750 in one day once.
That's crazy.
That guy over there by the Gilman exit in Berkeley. There's always a guy there.
Always a guy.
There's different guys, and I remember he told me, he said it hella funny, bro. He said it, I do the morning shift.
Yeah.
Dude, they switch up. They switch up.
Yeah.
They switch up. Like if you get off, to go to El Cerrito, dude. I remember there was this old guy
in a wheelchair.
Well, it was a wheelchair, but this other guy, he had like a bad ankle, so he'd always be like going like this. He'd walk and he'd be saluting to you. So people always gave him money, and then I was just like, I'm like, what the fuck? And then it was like other people, like you make a left, and it's like 3 other people waiting for like their shift, but they kept him out there like strong, like because he would always, everybody always feel bad for him.
That's so funny.
that's
to
a
think about that, like somebody's pimping out these homeless people, like on all of our
the Armenians got the Target shift on lock. The families.
Oh
Like,
yeah. Oh, dude, that shit always makes me so sad when they bring the kids.
Yeah, I hate that shit, dude.
Wait,
bro.
with like, you ever seen those?
I
Like,
guess they've
kids
got
with,
nowhere to put
like
the
playing
kid, though.
instruments and stuff.
They be on the bar, dude.
Yeah.
I hate
really,
that.
like you're just talking about like the street performers?
No, they're homeless, but they'll have their mom will have the kids like make an instrument. They'll be like,
So they make it like
Like,
extra
I
sad.
think I've seen that
Right.
once.
Yeah.
I think I've seen
Yeah.
that once. But I remember I seen that once, and I walked past, and it was like, "Can you spare some?" I'm like, if you got enough for some instruments, you can like fucking live somewhere. That was in my.
I'm a little more forgiving if
Excuse
you're
me, sir.
playing
These were
something.
donated.
Yeah, if you're playing an instrument, I'm a little bit more forgiving. You know, like I
Yeah, at
don't
least
know.
like, oh, you're trying to. This is a talent you're working on.
Yeah, you suck, but
See, I wish that the stories that they told were like a little more interesting, right?
sure.
Because like a lot of times, like, hey, bro, like I just ran out of gas. You know, my baby, my wife is pregnant. She's about to like. if you're just standing around all
fleeing
day,
the war
dude,
in Ukraine.
Exactly. Like I want something like more fantastical. Like, hey, bro, I'm trying to fight a dragon like in a little bit, and I need to get some chainmail, maybe a sword.
Have you
there
ever
was a guy in Berkeley.
Have you ever had a homeless guy give you your change back?
No,
I've had that. I had that happen to me. So my car, I have the shitty Toyota Corolla out there with no hubcaps anymore, right? Because I keep falling off on the freeway. But I was doing Instacart one day, and I rolled down my window. I was like, "Hey man, this is all I got. It's like in change, right?" I didn't mean like that's all I have to my name, but I was like, "Okay, this is all I got in cash." He goes, "Oh, if that's all you got, man, take it back." And I was like, no. Like, I have money in my account.
You really need
I just don't have this. And he goes, "No, dude, look at your car." He's like, if you like, take it, I'll be okay. And then he gave me my money back. And I was like,
He took
what
pity
the
on
fuck
you.
just happened? I called my dad, and I was like, a homeless guy gave me my money back. Said I needed it more than him. That made me feel so bad
He
about
said,
myself.
"You have things to maintain. I do not."
Yeah.
He's like, "I don't have a car. I don't
Look at your
need
car.
one."
I was like, I don't need the hubcaps. Those are fine. It's like,
He's so
like,
worried.
I obviously don't care about them. Just take the money.
This happened recently in San Francisco. It was the weirdest thing. This dude's like, "Hey man, you want to do a COVID test?" It's like, what the fuck?
Is that code for something?
I guess he was selling COVID tests. I was like, nah, I'm cool. That was like the weirdest, like,
Yeah, I'm not gonna trust a street COVID test. Dog. That's like a the dollar store pregnancy test.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When I saw those, I was like, what the fuck? Or like
No
dollar
way
store condoms. I was like, oh yeah, fuck.
Oh,
no.
yeah, no.
That's why right next to the pregnancy test, I was like, because you use that dollar store condom. That's why you pregnant.
So Marcos, I got it. I think he gave you a change back because he's like, "I'm gonna try to prevent you from becoming me." Here you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, he saw your future.
But like, I was like doing all right for myself at that point.
Didn't look like it, Marcos.
No.
It did not look like it. Were you drunk?
Maybe
Never
up
mind.
here.
No.
Were you high?
I was still drinking at that time,
Exactly.
but like I was sober.
He saw it.
Yeah, he was probably like, save this for when you go to rehab.
I remember when my eyes used to look like that.
you know what? Whenever like any kind of public transportation, like, I mean, you see the worst shit that happens in videos, but I feel like I've never been there for one of those.
Oh, you're lucky.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't say wood, but
not
whatever.
wood.
Have you had like, especially in
The only crazy one that I've seen so far is a lady got bit by somebody brought their dog onto the thing and a lady got bit by the dog.
Wow.
Yeah, bro, it was a lot of blood.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
big
It was-
dog?
Yeah, it was like a German Shepherd. Yeah.
Was she Jewish?
German Shepherd.
It's like in their DNA.
Oh, I was like, I don't know.
Hey man, look, I'm gonna stay away from that after that Kanye shit, dog. Come on, bro.
Oh, my bad.
I'm like, what?
Look, I stand with the Jewish
Some
people.
dogs are racist, man. That's
Some
what
dogs are racist,
No, I always wanted. I think it's the tiny dogs that are the most racist ones.
They are. We talked about that
Yeah.
before. It's the little white dogs.
Yeah,
The little white
those
dogs are
ones.
the most racist.
Look like a fucking mops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but they're only owned by ethnic people. They're only owned by Filipinos, Mexicans, and black people.
We
too.
do own a small white dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Her name's
Especially in the
Angel.
hood.
Especially in the hood.
Her name's Angel. She be barking at everybody.
Yeah,
It's hella funny.
she's
Yeah.
the exact opposite
Except
of
for
what you
the
named her.
white mailman.
I remember as Asian, so
Oh,
it's
okay.
cool.
Okay.
She don't bark at him.
Hey, you recently got passed at the San Francisco
Yeah, I was about to say that.
punchline.
Yeah.
I did.
Thanks,
Yeah.
man.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Thanks, boys.
Congratulations, bro.
Appreciate it. It feels like nothing. No, dude, I'm being hella serious. Like, so, like, for people that don't know, like, the whole process of getting past at
Long
the punchline is like a brutal, super long, like, multi-year process. And like a big thing with if you're trying to achieve a thing is like, you work so hard, you're on that journey of like trying to make that thing happen, and then you get the thing, and then it just feels hollow, right? Because you're like, oh, the thing that was driving me was actually the journey towards getting the thing, not actually getting the thing.
Right. Right.
Yeah, so like I was like, after I got past that punchline, I was like deeply depressed for like several weeks.
Really?
Because you're like,
Yeah.
what do I do now?
Yeah,
right?
exactly. I was like, I don't know what, like, okay,
Like,
well,
what's
now I
the
got
next
this
step?
thing. And there's not like any big fanfare about it
Right.
or anything like
Right.
that. It just happens. And like, you think, because in your head, you think, oh, this is going to be a thing. It's going to change something. I'm going to
Right.
be better, blah, blah, blah.
I'm gonna be on every weekend.
Yeah. And then it's nothing. thing, you know, and then it's
Right.
just like, oh, okay.
Small
well,
perks though. Like you
Yeah.
go in a green room, you don't have to be waiting.
yeah.
outside.
So on the weekends at Punchline, like whenever there's like a 3-day weekend, they always sell out on the
Yeah.
Sunday showcase, and so then all the comics who come have to like hang out outside.
Yeah.
But I don't. I got to do that shit.
Yeah,
no
you
more,
gotta do
dog.
that more.
You can hang
Yeah,
out.
I get to walk past all of you motherfuckers.
That'd be me. Standing
Yeah,
there,
I'm
looking
gonna
like
be
security.
like, "Hey, you cold, man?" Well, it's real warm in there. So.
But like after years of grinding it out, the with the grind,
Yeah.
it does. There is something there like that. You do feel like wow, like
Yeah, eventually, like it does settle in, but again, like initially, it really like it felt very like hollow. But then after that, like it did. Like now that I've worked the club a couple times and stuff, like I'm like, oh, okay, this is like a
There's the
real
perks,
thing. You know, I get to make my $50 or whatever.
Right. So what is the next goal then? Like, are you just focused on?
So my current goals are like one is to like get past at all of the comedy clubs in the Bay. I've already gotten like a couple of them. Like I'm past at Alameda Comedy Club.
Nice.
I just got past at Rooster T. Feathers.
Nice.
And now Punchline. So then the last ones are like Laughs Unlimited and then the Improv. And I mean Tommy T's kind of, but I don't think I really need to do Tommy T's like that.
Tommy T's just kind of changed like now. It's like it's not a much of a passing no more. I feel like it's kind of can you put on shows?
Yeah, it's like they only mostly do bringer shows. Like I don't even know if there's a system there or not.
I don't honestly think so no more.
Yeah.
'Cause I went back a few times and I'm just like, what? I'm like, I talk to people like, what is this? It's like, oh, well, kind of a show, and then you kind of do weekends, but not really. I haven't.
that's what I heard from someone. Like the comic told me that the owner asked you to come watch a few for a weekend, and if you're around, you might get up. It's just but it's not like you're in. It's just, oh, he's here, cool, put him up.
Yeah.
And that's all it is.
So there's no like paid regular kind of thing at Tommy T's.
Not that I've heard of. No.
Well, for now, it's like the people who were passed beforehand, like the Jay Riches and like stuff like that. They'll get like a weekend kind of a shows.
Yeah.
But like I don't know.
Featuring or hosting. Yeah.
Well, not sometimes they'll just get a weekend.
Oh, a weekend.
Because they're like kind of like
okay.
because it's Mario Hodge. It's like Jay Rich and Mario Hodge and like a few other like comedians I know that might have like a Friday and Saturday, but then it's still like a thing like oh, we only have like one show Friday and a show on Saturday because it's like social media and things like that. So that's like a different aspect. And then I don't really know like if Jay Rich is hanging out, he might go up with like a national tour headliner because he knows them and stuff. Versus like you're hosting this weekend kind of a thing. Like I've seen that more. Like I think after the pandemic, that's what switch it is like. We'll just kind of keep having money coming in a sense. I feel like
That makes sense.
I got a question on because did the pandemic affect your comedy in any way? Like were you more active after that or?
Yeah. So when the pandemic first happened, like I was doing shows up until like lockdown.
Yep.
Like and then when the pandemic happened, I think it was like maybe about a 3-month span where like there was nothing, and then like it started to evolve and like people started doing Zoom shows, and like those were awful, dude. Like I've watched, I've like you'll be on stage or not even on stage, just in your fucking couch, like
with no
talking.
pants on.
No pants on. You're trying to do jokes, and like people don't know how to mute themselves, so then you hear like domestic violence or like just like some couple arguing, babies crying, dogs barking, and you're like trying to tell your stupid jokes, and then and so that sucked. And then eventually what happened was that like a few comics started being like, oh, like let's just take a speaker and a mic out to a park and we'll start doing like some comedy in the park kind of thing.
Open mics.
Yeah, and so like David Dominguez, who you all know, he started a mic at Lake Merritt, and so like used to go to that like pretty much every single day, and which is cool because I think that it helped me get better because like there were some comics who were like very COVID cautious that were like I'm just not gonna do. What's up?
Oh no, I'm saying that was me.
Oh, that was you.
Very cool.
Yeah,
I was like, I ain't going out.
Yeah, dog, you can't take a respiratory system hit like that. Like
at all. Well, another one because I got COVID from my mom because she's a nurse. So,
oh fuck. Okay.
Like,
yeah. Oh, that makes sense.
So then it was like I ain't trying to get this shit again. I'm like, fuck this open mic. So
Yeah, you got it really bad too.
Yeah. It was super bad.
Yeah, so I did a lot of those open mics, and so like it was cool because it made me feel like I was able to like level up some while like some of the other people that are around were like
not doing shit.
Exactly. And then from there, then that's when like the parklet started getting built, and so then people were like, Like outdoor comedy shows were like one of the only like events that like they could do.
Sidewalk shows.
Oh my god, dude! I literally have never made more money in my life doing stand up than I did during COVID.
Yeah.
Because like just every show would be sold out because that was the only thing people could do.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
It sounds like horrible, but I actually I enjoyed the whole pandemic thing. Like, yeah, okay, we lost some family, but but to just be home and I did do like the side. I remember I did a sidewalk show. What was it? Milk Bar.
Oh yeah.
And there was a homeless person sleeping. You were there.
Yeah.
There was a homeless person sleeping, and in one of my jokes I mentioned heroin. And when I said heroin, they woke up and looked.
Like they're hoping for some.
Yeah, I prayed at that show. Remember? I prayed at that show. I was like, make sure that we don't get attacked by no homeless person, because the week before Kabir Singh got attacked on stage. Yeah. And so that was funny. Oh, I remember the best outdoor show was comedy at the baseball field.
Oh yeah, that show was great. Pete Ballmer, Jeff Dean used to run this great show called Batter Up, and it was at this baseball field. There was a giant the bleachers would be full of these people just all there to see comedy. It felt fucking great.
It was great. It was dope as fuck.
You talked about depression. Did you kind of fall into depression on the pandemic? Because I kind of did, man, and it took me a long time.
Nah, because they were like, I'm like a natural introvert, so they were like, nigga, you don't gotta go outside and interact with nobody, dude, and we're gonna pay you. I was like, fuck yeah, this is amazing. I just fucking played video games and jerked off every day. It was amazing, dog.
At 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And then you were probably.
Dude, yeah. I did not go to sleep at all at that point.
I did. I felt a little depression, but it was I wasn't going outside, because I'm an extrovert, so I like going outside.
Yeah, me too.
So then it was I became with a prism within a prism, because it was just I was just always in my room, not going outside. And I was like, I don't want to interact with my family right now, or if I was working, I'm like, this is my workstation, and then there's my bed, and that's where I relax. So I would just go outside for fresh air sometimes. So that was always the thing. But then just staying home and getting paid. That was
amazing.
That was first time ever.
Yeah.
I was like, man,
Did food deliveries.
my DoorDash bill was.
Yeah, bro. We ain't gonna talk about that, dog.
That's why I kind of like Zoom shows, right? Because I didn't have to go nowhere, and it was I could just be here at my house. And you know how people I only got paid $40 or some shit. I'm like, I got paid $40 staying at home, or $60 for the good shows and stuff. That's what I like to be all right, my DoorDash is here, or or my mom's cooking, so I can just walk in the kitchen. I don't have to miss out on that part. And especially when you drive to a shitty show, there's 5 people there. You're like, man, what the fuck? But if there's 5 people to Zoom, I'm I got TV on in the back. I'm like, oh, this is good.
I did a Zoom show and Brian Hicks was on it.
Yeah.
And I remember when it was his turn, you just see a cloud of smoke. He was doing it in his car. Yeah, it was wild, man. And basically what I'm asking is, we got another wave coming of COVID.
Yeah. It's making a comeback.
Yeah.
Hopefully it does something for comedy.
Yeah, dog. So, but here's going back to the Zoom show thing. That was a cool part of the Zoom shows. But the bad part of it was if you bombed on a Zoom show, because when you bomb on a show regularly, you get to you can leave that place. It doesn't exist anymore for you. But when you bombed on a Zoom show, all you do is you close your laptop and you got to sit with your thoughts, dog.
At home.
Yeah, I remember
This is where I fell.
Also, there's a thing about you bombed on the Zoom stage, and then you just see your screen disappear.
Just
the people
left.
watching, he just disappeared.
Yeah.
That would happen a lot. But shout out to all you comedians. We appreciate every single last one of you. Even what's the president they're not here no more. Oh, I remember a comedian bombed on the show, and then he's messaging me. He was like, Corday, dude, I don't know what the fuck I was thinking, dude. I was like, nah, dude, it was cool, man. It was. He's like, nah, dude, I fucking bombed. I'm like, dude, dude, one of the laptop. It's all right, dude. It's not the same shit. I'm trying to encourage him, but I could tell him fall into that desperate thing that you was talking about, Marcus. Yeah,
I can see why somebody would think that, of being on a laptop and doing stand-up, that should be fine. I mean, it's like watching a television special or something, but it's not.
No.
It's really not.
It's a 3-second delay, too.
And there's plus comedy shows have context, there's lighting and there's a stage and, everybody's sitting together. Comedy's meant to be consumed together. It's the best
a little ritual that we do. That's the stage, the audience, and they participate.
And there's this connection that you have there.
And even in the television specials, specials, like you expect there to be an audience there laughing at you know,
Yeah.
without the
Norm
audience.
Macdonald released his last special before he died. R.I.P. was him like just talking to a camera on Zoom, and it was very awkward and like weird.
Okay, yeah, I remember people kept praising that special that he put out, and I'm watching it, I'm just like, it looks like he's just talking to the camera.
Yeah.
Like in my head, I would have been like, is this even?
It was
like,
But it was no
weirdly
different
sad.
than seeing him perform in front of audience. He's the same. Well, you know, like it was all the same shit.
So it was like awkward from that, like you said, the same ritual, but it's just like he's just talking to his camera. And in my head, I'm just like, was there? It'd be dope if he had like outtakes in it or something like that. He's like, man, I don't even know. That's why Bo Burnham's did so well.
I was gonna say Bo Burnham
'Cause he
kind of
was-
did that same thing.
Because he was doing it at his house, but then he kept like talking about he was like supposed to be working on and writing new material. He's like, I don't even know if it's gonna fucking go out to anything. Like it was like very real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a lot of weird shit like that.
Yeah,
though.
absolutely,
Like, it's the trip that it was only what 3 years ago.
Yeah, dude, all the flashbacks. Matter of fact, dude,
No,
like
it ended almost like when we really got out of lockdown. It was like maybe
2021.
2021,
Yeah.
22
Yeah.
almost. Like we've only had like a year and a half out.
Of
fully.
freedom, dog. I feel like the first slaves released.
All right, question.
Like I'm out. What's up?
Question: If we had to redo lockdown again,
Mm-hmm.
what would you do different?
Okay, so
it's a great question.
during the pandemic, like, you know, the like BLM stuff like popped off with like George Floyd.
Yeah.
I wrote all this material that was centered around BLM and like George Floyd, and I never like put that stuff out online. And now it's just not relevant anymore, so it doesn't work the same. And so this is like the most fucked up thought I've ever, or one of the most fucked up thoughts I've ever had is like, I kind of want the cops to like kill one unarmed black person, like,
During
and it get
another
a big
quarantine.
thing. Yeah, exactly. So that I could bring this back real quick, you know?
This material was too good to
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna happen.
I want to know.
Give it a few more
It's inevitable.
You don't have to wish. It's gonna happen
There'll
again.
be
Like
another
they ain't
plague.
changed.
You
Yeah.
don't, you don't have to wait for the
Racism is
next
gone.
9/11. This
exactly.
happens quite often.
Don't worry.
So you do a lot of don't tell shows, right?
Yeah. So I'm hooked up with I'm one of the producers for Don't Tell Comedy in San Francisco and like the North Bay area. That honestly, they were
Can
just
you explain what that is for?
so Don't
people?
Tell Comedy is like this. It's a group where they do like these pop-up shows at like random locations. They're supposed to be at secret locations.
Guerrilla entertainment.
Yeah, exactly. It
It's the name Don't Tell. I
and
like
people like, you know, we charge tickets and all of that, and like it's grown into like being this like bigger empire thing where they're like I think they're in like 56 cities across the world.
Yeah,
Like they have one, there's like a London one, Canada, they're all over the US. I think they're just starting one up in Hawaii in like a couple weeks. And and like Don't Tell, they like film these specials and like put them out, and like it's like their numbers are beating like Comedy Central stuff that they're putting out. Like
Right.
Comedy Central's like low-key kind of dead now.
Right.
And so like Don't Tell is kind of taking up that for like promoting new comics. Like that's how Ralph Barbosa, who I'm sure you are aware of, like really blew up, was through his Don't Tell special.
Yep.
And so I'm like hooked up with Don't Tell. It was honestly like a super easy process.
Comedy club.
What
without
is
a
some-
venue. That's what it is, right? Like
You said what?
It's like a comedy club without a venue.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a traveling. It's a traveling comedy show.
Kind of. I mean, like we're based in San Francisco, so all of our shows are in the city.
Sure. But I mean, it's kind of like our like with music, we have the same thing. It's like so far,
yeah,
and stuff like that.
So Don't Tell, they got the model
From So Far.
so far,
Okay.
and so it's the exact same model.
Yeah, we just did Breaking Sound, which is the same thing as So Far,
Oh, okay.
but just a different company. But yeah, those models are pretty cool. What is the process though for a comic to get on that?
To get onto like being a Don't Tell producer,
Right.
or
No, like
to being on a
on the show, on a
or
special.
the special. Oh, I mean, the specials is like basically the head guy from Don't Tell will like reach out. They'll like research comics, like, and they also like have a giant network of comics that they know, and they're like, okay, who's hot? Who do you think is going to be like, you know, a
next
big thing? And then they like contact them. And they like will rent out a venue. They'll do recordings, and usually like the way that it works is that they record a Don't Tell special in blocks. So they'll like record like 5-6 comics doing their 10-minute sets, and then they like will release those over the course of like a couple months.
Right.
And they just do like one release every single week. Plus they like put out clips every day.
Right.
That kind of thing. I mean, I personally have never been to any of the Don't Tell specials, like tapings or anything like that. But and I know plenty of the homies that have done them.
Would you do
They
one?
do a lot of small shows. They do like the bigger shows and do a lot of the smaller ones at like yoga studios and shit.
Yeah, exactly. It's always like I think I'm like in talks right now to lock down a dude's garage for one.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask that. I was like, would you do a Don't Tell special?
Would I do one? Yeah, of course. I mean, do I not want to be a successful comedian or grow my
Do you
following?
feel like those hold a little bit more weight now than even Netflix?
I mean, because Netflix is kind of mid, like a lot of the times now.
Yeah.
I feel like that's it's the trajectory to a Netflix special, become like a household name. Like I feel like the Don't Tell specials are like the new late night specials. Like you getting on late night.
exactly.
Okay,
That's what I've seen it. Like, I'm like,
Was it bigger after the pandemic though?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I feel like that's why I kind of took off during the pandemic, because it's like Don't Tell. So it was like, oh, there's like secret shows going on during the pandemic. So I feel like that was
That's a hype builder, right?
Also,
exactly.
also though, I wouldn't say that Netflix. Once you get a Netflix special, you're a household name.
No.
Well, I'm saying like the Don't Tell thing, like definitely.
It puts you into a space to probably get to your Netflix special.
Yeah.
But it is true that I think they're kind of giving everyone a Netflix special now.
Yeah.
And there's so much comedy on there, and it's like
Saturated.
it's oversaturated.
But Don't Tell is like a hub. Like people know
Exactly.
Don't Tell.
Right,
so
it's
they
for
go
comedy.
specifically
For
there
It is just one thing. Specifying one
to like find new comics.
But then also it's like if you have a or a Netflix special, it definitely does like help with like booking clubs, stuff like that. Like
Sure.
It's seen on Netflix stuff, and then it kind of helps like give you swing and like say like kind of stuff, and then like for comedy clubs, like you could sell out, you can get like a weekend, you can do like this stuff like
yeah,
that.
it helps get your name out there. I mean, all comedy specials are literally just promotion for when you go tour.
Right.
But as far as I mean, even the Don't Tell things, they're not like guaranteed to make you pop. Like there's some people I know who've done it and it's like completely changed their career.
Yeah.
And then for some people, they're like, oh, I got a couple thousand followers, but other than that, so it still is like based off of like the content of the comic,
Right,
like what they're
right.
talking about.
Or also your consistency with social media.
Yeah.
Because it's such a social media based.
Oh my god, dude!
thing, you know?
I hate that shit. Like, I kind of like. Because like most of us, like us that are comics, we got into comedy because we wanted to be funny. We wanted to tell jokes. We didn't want to fucking have to become a social media marketer and a videographer and a video editor and a producer and like all this other shit. Like
a salesman.
Yeah, exactly.
That's essentially what you guys are. You guys are salesmen.
All that.
Everyone.
Yeah.
No, you say you're not. You are.
We're a company of one, and like we're in charge of like marketing, selling our product, which
That
is
is-
our comedy.
Salesman, that's in the sense of you want to do well on stage, but
No. You're.
You want to sell
that. You're a
tickets?
sell tickets. You're a salesman.
Yeah.
Your whole the reason you put up a podcast, the reason you started one was to show people, and you have comedians on, it's to show people you guys are comedians.
Yeah.
The reason you put it on Instagram and blah blah blah, you're trying to sell
promote
them
the show.
something.
We're salesmen in marketing.
That's
and, like, that kind of
that's true. That is why I
'Cause also
started the
this-
podcast, just trying to get more people to come to my Richmond show.
Exactly. No, but that's what every comedian that has a podcast does too. You become a fan of them, and you might not even know their stand-up. Like for me, okay, this is like really dumb of me, but I'm a huge fan of the Bad Friends podcast with Bobby Lee.
Oh, yeah.
and Andrew Santino. I have never seen their stand-up until last weekend. I finally looked them up, and I was like, I've been watching you guys' shit for a long
I don't think
time.
I have ever seen Bobby Lee
It was-
stand up.
it was-
Here, no.
It was like
only on that Gotham where he did like a hosting thing back in the day.
Yeah,
that was like
that's
the only
that's
thing.
the one I saw.
Yeah. I
saw him
it was
at,
okay.
I saw him
Right?
at,
I'm not a comedian, so I don't feel scared to
Yeah, there you go.
shit on him. But like at the same time,
No, I heard that he crushed. Like I have a couple homies that work at the comedy store, and like they said, like
Killer.
Yeah,
killed.
No, he's a killer. I
destroyed.
I saw him at Punchline, and then like I was like, I just heard he gets naked, right?
yeah, he shows his dick a lot.
And then
apparently.
and then it was like right after he said his dad had passed earlier in the year. So and he's like, thank you guys for all subscribing to the podcast. It's like when Tiger Belly, I think it was like 2018, and I was like, Tiger what? Like,
Tiger.
Then he was crushing though. Then and then he did the like, I'm like, oh, I guess he didn't get naked. And then he did the naked thing, and everybody exploded. And I was like, oh, this is
Dude, you know who gets fined like everywhere he goes on tour.
Well, no,
He keeps showing his dick.
so now it's what I thought so too, but then they put it
It's like a waiver. Or
a
something,
waiver
or
discretion.
like
They let you know up front,
That
like,
he's gonna be
hey,
doing that?
like, hey, there's might be nudity at this show, so letting you know, like, pre-warning. There's
There's some city. They just said on Bad Friends like recently. There's some cities that they do on tour where he keeps doing it, and they keep telling him like, "Hey, here you can't do it. You'll get fined." And he's like, "Yeah, I got fined $8,500 for that."
Well, I mean, yeah, like at that point, it's like he's just like, "Fuck it." Like this is
Like you probably can't, like in buttfuck Alabama, you're not supposed to do that because
Utah.
it's a small town, or Utah, yeah. But like in California, like you might get away with it.
I like asking every comic this, and I don't think I've done it too much on the podcast, but like, do you remember the first time you made someone laugh?
Ooh, I don't remember the first time I made somebody laugh, but I remember the first time where like I got a
where it was
big like
impactful.
pop,
Yeah.
you know, like from a lot of people. That was like back. I mean, it was hack, because you know you're a kid,
right.
whatever. But yeah, I remember there was this African kid who was like black as midnight in the class, and I called him African booty scratcher in class, and it fucking like floored everybody. Like kids were running around throwing papers, and I was just like, oh, okay, hell yeah, this is great. This is one of the best feelings.
But
in the
that was the
world.
first time you felt.
Yeah. I think it was probably like maybe around like 6, 7 or something like that.
Yeah. That's dope.
Yeah, man.
Well, for you.
Yeah, it sucks for him. I think that they started like clicking at him and all kinds of shit.
no.
Oh yeah, I probably made the rest of his school year life horrible. But
He had to transfer.
yeah, he went back to Africa.
And became a warlord because of that villain.
You know, his last
origin
name was
story.
Coney, dude. So. Yeah.
Inspired by true events.
He's terrorizing little villages.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to like the goals thing, like it's just to get past at the other clubs. Like I'm probably only going to stay in the Bay. Like now that I'm like past that Punchline and a few of the other clubs, and like a bunch of like every few years is like a big exodus of comics, and as it should be. Like that's how,
right now.
yeah. And so a big exodus has happened, and so now I'm like,
sorry, what does that mean?
so like a bunch of comics will move to New York and LA. You know?
Oh, okay, so out of the Bay.
Yeah, like
or
the
just
more
quit.
experienced comics, or just quit, get married, have some fucking stupid fucking kids or something.
Okay, so now they're making room for the new guy.
Yeah, I mean, then that's just how it happens. Like eventually you reach a certain plateau, and then you're like, all right, it's time to leave.
Right.
And so that's happened now, and so like I'm like one of the only like black dudes at the Punchline, so I'm gonna just soak up all of that new black
Hold it
dude
down.
experience. Exactly.
Do you want to move to New York or LA at some point?
Yeah, so initially it was like New York all the way because I'm like comedy, but then I've started doing like more writing, like writing scripts and stuff like that. I got like a writing fellowship, and so I mean, hopefully this fucking strike ends at some point.
Yeah.
But then the goal is to like go down to LA, get a writing job, and then be a working stand-up when on the off seasons of like my staff writing job.
Right.
Dope.
That's what I was gonna ask. Like you kind of answered, but because you mentioned like the drawing. Is there any other have you tried acting? Like have you done anything like that? It seems
I've tried, and I don't think I should try anymore. Very bad at acting, dude. Yeah, I'm horrible at it.
Yeah.
There are it's like a children's theater level of acting for me, dude. Like you could have me in like
what have you been on? Like what?
I mean, like I've done like I've been in like a couple like different comedy sketches and stuff like that, and then like I tried to do a play, and then like after a few of the sessions they were like, hey man, this ain't gonna work out.
Dang.
You should be behind the camera.
At acting though, if you're a stand-up comic. You have to have some of that.
I think it's not everybody has like desire in doing all those types of things.
Not desire, but you can't be
too
that
awkward
bad.
to me, like pretending to be a different character.
I think it depends on the part, right? Like okay, there's
And the director,
and
too.
the director
Yeah.
too, because there's some parts where it's like clearly, okay, this guy's just playing himself, and he plays himself in every movie. That's one level of acting, and if you're a stand-up comedian, you have to have that charisma. If that's you, great. But like then there's the transformative kind of act, like your Daniel Day-Lewis or somebody like that who just becomes someone fucking.
It is awkward.
That's
though, man.
hard.
Yeah.
I like that. I got him the best part in a film I was in, some independent short film where he played there's two fat guys getting in the bus and they get stuck, and he's one of the
Yeah, one of the fat guys.
This sounds like Oscar-worthy stuff.
Nah, but it was like funny because I remember like we shot that. I think it was
Vallejo.
like Vallejo, but I remember it took like 10 to 12 tries, and it's literally just because it was like, oh, you're not holding the newspaper up like high enough, or it's like. And then I remember one time it was like this only copy.
Yeah,
and I remember I kind of tore it at one point, and so we had to angle it to like another part where it was like so funny. And then they was like, you got to get off the bus, and when you get off the bus, he's coming on. So at first I just kind of like pushed him out the way, and he was like, oh no, dude, you're supposed to like purposely. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, well, if I'm in a rush, I'm just going to like hurry up and get off. They was like, oh no, you're supposed to like mush and then try to like fight like your way out and stuff like that.
It was like an Egyptian filmmaker making movies here, and it was hard for me too because they brought filmmakers from LA, and they had like these
big ass cameras.
Yeah. And they had a tennis ball under the camera. That's where they wanted me to look.
Okay.
But I kept making eye contact with the director.
You just have beautiful eyes.
Yeah, I'm saying my lines. You say the lines to your. I was playing a food vendor in Tijuana. Like that was my character. And I had to look at the ball, but I kept looking at it, and I kept looking at the guy, and that's where I struggle with that.
Yeah, it just feels like kind of out of character. Like I think personally, I don't really want to do any on-camera stuff. Like more stuff like that's like behind the scenes, like the writing of it. Maybe like some directing stuff, but
that's a perfect place for a comic.
Yeah, and then like the only time that I want to be in front of a camera is like if I'm doing my stand-up. Yeah.
That's one of those things that like I know. I mean, you know, we talked about this with like Marvel movies. Like they're always adding jokes to it. All movies now. It's not just comedy movies. There isn't really
there's no such thing as comedy movies anymore.
Because comedies in almost even horror movies have like jokes in it.
I mean, there's a few.
Like it, yeah.
Well, yeah, but
Like I saw Bottoms recently. So
I heard about that. Yeah. Okay.
Bad Dogs.
Is that like a
Marshawn
gay
Lynch
porno?
is in it.
Okay.
He plays like
I think it's a gay
very
cheerleading
terrible teacher.
thing.
Okay.
But yeah,
but it's gay.
Yeah, it's like a high school comedy.
Yeah.
You know, kind of the two characters are trying to get laid, but it's hilarious. It's actually I find it fun.
Is your art that you draw, is that just something you do for yourself, or do you put it out there?
I mean, like I'll post stuff on my Instagram story, and every now and then, like I like to paint and like draw and all of that. But yeah, for the most part, it's just personal. Like you know, I grew up like reading comic books and like liking anime and stuff like that. So like I like to draw, you know, the ideas that I have in my head. But I never like have any idea of like creating a comic or some shit like that.
What's your favorite comic book character?
American or Japanese?
Damn.
Wait, which character?
Or Korean dog?
You're a manga guy.
Manga, manhwa, the fucking American like traditional comic books, all of it, bro.
Let's start with favorite Japanese and then work our way up to American.
Okay, my favorite Japanese. I like there's this character Guts from this series called Berserk. It's like super gothic. It's fucked up. It was been going on for like years, and it was this beautiful series, like some of the most beautiful art you'll ever see in your life, and like a really great like fucked up story. The author just died like about a year ago, and so the story isn't going to continue. But Berserk is Guts from Berserk is a great character, and then for American comics, his character isn't around anymore. But it was like a super influential character to me. Is this character called Icon? He's basically you know about Icon?
Oh, I know about Dwayne McDuffie and that whole outfit. Milestone.
Yeah, Milestone,
comics,
dude. Oh my
man.
God,
Yeah.
Milestone was huge for me. That's where Static came from for Static Shock.
They brought him back recently.
Yeah,
they have
yeah.
an Icon versus Hardware storyline going on.
Weren't they making a Static Shock movie at one point? with Jaden Smith?
I think they're still like
It's probably about to be back
something in the
on.
works. So the big thing was like Milestone was like this imprint or like line of comics that was like separate from DC but also kind of owned by DC.
Yep.
And so like when that dissolved, there was like this whole big like legal drama, so those characters weren't used. But Icon is like kind of like he's like Malcolm X Black Superman.
Oh, shit.
Oh yeah, okay, I remember.
But he's also like super conservative, right?
Yeah, that's why I was saying like
That's the
Malcolm
twist.
X more. Like he's not like Martin. He's Malcolm X. He's kind of like you know, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. These white people aren't going to save you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so like he's got all the same powers as Superman. He's an alien who like fell from space and
During the time of slavery.
And so like he was found in the field by enslaved woman, and so then she was like raised by him. And throughout the years, like throughout the civil rights, or like he's immortal, and like throughout all these different eras of like civil rights movement or the Civil War, all of this stuff, he chose not to use his powers or partake in any of that stuff because he's like, why would I fucking save these people? I see all this brutality of this man. And then he ends up meeting this like young black chick named who's her superhero name was Rocket, and she's basically like, so you have all these powers, you could do shit to change stuff for black people, and you're not going to do anything about it. And so she finally like convinces him to like start fighting for the people.
Oh shit. What is this called? Icon.
Yeah, Icon's comics. I don't know. You said they're back
relaunched.
now.
Yep.
Okay. But yeah, Icon. I still actually. I was just looking at some of my old Icon comics that I still have a couple days ago.
Wow. Okay. This is why I like doing this, because I end up finding out a lot of like interest that comics or people I mean, we don't know each other that well, but like it's like at the end we open up a big hole because for the first few seasons of us doing this podcast, like big into comic books, and that's kind of what our focus was. We used to review comic book movies. As far as the comic movies that are out now, what's some of your favorite that have been?
I've really fallen off from like the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like once the Endgame stuff was over with, like Infinity War, dude, like most of these kind of suck. It's more the same. I don't really like the like main cast that they have. But I mean the Spider-Verse films are beautiful,
fucking amazing,
like beautiful visually, beautiful story, super fun. Like I love those a lot. I mean, I really wish DC would get their fucking act together because they have these beautiful these amazing characters.
They don't know how to work them in the film.
And they own all of them. It's not spread out over 3 different companies.
But they're not like what Feige does is he picks people that he feels are talented directors and writers, and what Warner Brothers does is they're just like rolling dice. It seems like, hey, you want this job? Come on.
I mean, they just brought Guardians of the Galaxy, dude. What's the director?
James Gunn.
They just brought James Gunn on, so maybe that'll give, because like the new Suicide Squad movie was good. I really enjoyed that.
I also found Blue Beetle to be fun.
Oh, is that out?
Refreshing.
Yeah, it's out.
Okay, all right, I'm gonna check that out then.
I was surprised.
What was wrong with what did you not like about the first Suicide Squad?
Oh, wait, the first Suicide Squad? I mean, so my understanding is that there's a better. I mean, it's not good though. It's not bad, but it's
jokes were written.
It's not
after
good.
the fact. That's what I heard.
Yeah. So yeah, I heard that like basically there's a cut of the movie, or like the original director of the movie wanted to do a different kind of version.
David Ayer.
David Ayer.
More serious,
And then they like kind of recut it. The studio execs did, and then kind of fucked up the whole movie.
Yeah, basically Batman vs Superman fucked up a lot of movies because Batman vs Superman came out in March, and then Suicide Squad was coming out in August. So because Batman vs Superman was too fucking dark, David Ayer's cut was like dark, gritty and stuff like that. It was like, no, we just did that. Let's fucking change this. Like the first trailer was like 3 minutes long, very dark and all this kind of stuff. Then they did a second trailer, more music, more pop, more colors and stuff like that. And then so David Ayer has a cut out there. There was like 2 test screenings. It was David Ayer's cut, and then like they watched it, like and then they did the trailer. The people who did the trailer, they made a version of it, and they was kind of like and then so they was like, well, we'll just combine the 2, and then that's what we got. It was the combination of both those.
We got crap is what we got.
Yeah, I kind of like it.
I'm gonna follow up on some of this, and then we're gonna have you back, bro.
I'd love to come back, you guys. We can talk about more stuff.
Oh hell yeah! This has been awesome, man. Thank you for coming out. Yeah. Before we go though, any you want to plug your social media to our listeners, anything like that?
You can find me on every single platform at Marcus Howard. That's MarcusHowerd. On every single platform, I'm putting out more content now, consistently. Whether that's stand-up clips or a couple of other ventures that I'm starting to do. You can check out my YouTube. And as far as like shows and shit, y'all motherfuckers aren't gonna come. So
you're regularly at the Punchline.
You can. Yeah, I'm at the Punchline. Okay, there we go. I can plug this, I guess. I'll be hosting all week at the Punchline the week of the final week of September. Oh, hi. I'm gonna be hosting at the Punchline every single week. The week of September 26th, I'll be hosting the weekend for Chris Porter. I'll be hosting the Sunday Showcase. I'll host the All-Star Showcase on Tuesday, and then Wednesday through Saturday with Chris Porter. So you can check that out at punchlinecomedyclub.com.
Hey, that was
Great.
That's been the Voice Party.
And we're out.
Hey.